What you doing, Diggletdreamers? You got Mathers back with this is more CDL, the RU draft league that I've been a part of. I always get a little confused about the name, but this is the upcoming Week 3 match. Will be up later today. This is versus Ariadon, and just a quick update since I was unable to get my match done with Jose for my Week 2 match. That's why there has been a bit of a gap between that one and this one. So I apologize for that, of course, but we will get that battle done eventually, and I'll have that up when that does happen. Jose just had some stuff going on, so no hard feelings, no worries. We'll get it done when we get it done. Now, Week 3, I'm up against Ariadon, and just so you're not like tempted by confusion, that's just my Week 1 team up there. It's nothing. I'm not hiding anything. So this is, of course, my draft right here, and then this is Ariadon's draft down here, and this is going to be the team that I'm going to be bringing. First off, if you haven't seen my draft overview video, go ahead and check that out. Put a link to that at the top of the video. So go ahead and check that out, just so I don't have to go over my Pokemon specifically. But let's talk a little bit about Ariadon's draft. So he's got Aerodactyl and Emboar. Those are his two Z-move users. And then he's got a Aromatisse, Cofagrigus. Is it Cofagrigus? I'm always confused by that pronunciation. Drapion, Fortress, Heliolisk, Milotic, Piloswine, Rampardos, and Mega Sceptile. So very, very threatening team, and I've been keeping an eye on everybody's battles as they pop up, and I've noticed that Ariadon has been very dominant in his battles of late. I actually have the replays up here, so this is his Week 1 right here. Very dominant display. Milotic is just a huge threat in this tier in general, and if you're not prepared for it, then you can't really do much. So of course I'm thinking about it a lot myself. I'm gonna put this on fast. I noticed that he does make some risky plays with his Sceptile there, going for substitute and whatnot, but so I'm not too worried about this thing. I do have Isopod, of course. He got Fortress. It seems to be his hazard that he likes to use a lot. But he does rely on Milotic a lot for his defenses. So if I can find a way to get that thing, that'll be nice. He actually has Eevee to take that, and then Miracoat's back. So I'm watching out for Miracoat. He also has Dragon Tail in his Week 2 match. Cold Dave, one of the best nicknames out there. Need to watch out for that thing. Stealth Rocks is not to be trifled with. This thing has an Eviolite. Probably would have knocked out that Uxie too if it had landed that move. Or no, not quite. My bad. So yeah, basically just don't underestimate any of his Pokemon. I'm going to try my best not to, of course. See, look at this. Living a head smash, and then, of course, knocks out the Tyrantrum. So do not underestimate Pokemon like this. This is a cool Trace Thick Fat, though. And Ice Shard, of course. But, I mean, look at this. That's his first Pokemon going down, and he's already in a pretty solid position. He gets the Rapid Spin off, and then he actually makes a really great play here with the Gyro Ball, Custap Berry, and then, of course, Feraligatr is going to come out. Not going to set up Dragon Dance, and it's not Life Orb either, which is confusing, but then, of course, yeah. So very, very good performance here by Ariadon. And then the Week 2 performance, oh man, even scarier. But let's get into it. Obviously he's got the Rapid Spin support, and then look at I love this, like the bulky, like the Rampardos coming out, but not using it as just like a big wall breaker as everyone expects it, using it as like a switch into his Swellow, which was a big offensive threat on his opponent's side. I gotta give a little bit commends to this for Mobman's offensive power-up punch Registeel that actually catches the Milotic a little off guard, but obviously Dragon Tail, a big thing there with all the hazards up, and able to recover, outspeed the Dragalge and live the Draco Meteor, and then of course it would be able to outspeed, recover, and live it again. So yeah, that Milotic is a big thing that you need to be able to break through that thing. Of course, Heliolisk is a big offensive threat as well. Catches this Dawn fan with the Grass Knot right here, big play. And then can, of course, outspeed and Volt Switch on this thing. And, of course, why not go back into Milotic? Milotic has shown that it can take this thing on, can Dragon Tail it out so it doesn't get too many boosts. And even at +1, going to be able to recover that stuff off. And it's actually faster. Oh, no, it's not faster. Dragon Tail's just slower. Never mind. And, again, the Draco Meteor's not doing it here. Goes back to this. Like, what does he have to break this Milotic at this point? It just is going to bring everything down. Can live the hurricanes. Yeah, like there's nothing doing. Recovers up. Even the critical hit boom burst isn't enough. Now Banette is in, and that's it. Like Camp Prankster. Like, man, just very good stuff. I'm worried about the Drapion too. I have Whimsicott on my team, so I need to watch out for that with Prankster. But I think he might bring it because, of course, it does hit my fairy types as well as like Pursuit Trap and my Espeon if he wants to try that. So yeah, very threatening team, very competent battler that I'm not going to underestimate. So first things I immediately notice about his team, Emboar is a big threat. Like, I don't have a lot of switch-ins to that thing. Like I could do like defensive Mandibuzz, Rhyperior, and maybe Nidoqueen, and maybe like a physically defensive Florges could come in on certain hits. Obviously Whimsicott could come in, as well as Vikavolt could come in on the right hits. But it's going to be like Flare Blitz is a pretty spammable move for his team. So I need to prepare for that. Heliolisk, of course, another big threat, especially with its great coverage moves. Like, it can surf my Nidoqueen. It can outspeed a lot of my other threats who run like a Hidden Power Ice to hit some things. And then, Grass Knot is also there. But I do have Florges for it. And then, of course, Milotic is a big offensive threat. Kind of tanks hits from things like Lycanroc, Golisopod, Toxicroak. Although Toxicroak can take it on with the dry skin. It does take on things like Rhyperior. And of course, it could even run Refresh. So like Toxic isn't even always going to be a viable strategy here. But I do have a few good offensive checks to it. Obviously, I mentioned the Toxicroak, but Vikavolt and Whimsicott with their stab moves are going to be able to do a good chunk. Other things, I mentioned Drapion already. Sceptile, definitely don't want to underestimate that thing, but I do have like Florges, Whimsicott. I think even Vikavolt could take a hit, and I got a good amount of priority that's going to be able to threaten it. Piloswine, definitely a big threat with the dual stab of ground and ice is very problematic for my team, but I do have Golisopod right there ready to take advantage of that Pokemon. Yeah, so I don't want to get into the team that I decided to bring. So I'm bringing Nidoqueen with the Life Orb, Stealth Rock, Max Speed, Special Attack, Sludge Wave, Earth Power, and Thunderbolt. Packing Thunderbolt as the kind of the coverage move so I can hit Milotic a lot harder. With the Life Orb Sheer Force boost, obviously Thunderbolt's going to be doing a good chunk. And then with those three moves, I think it's the best coverage I have versus his team. For example, Aerodactyl I hit with the Thunderbolt, Emboar I hit it with Earth Power, Sludge Wave the Aromatisse, and then Earth Power is going to be doing a good chunk to Cofagrigus. Of course, Earth Power for this, Earth Power, Thunderbolt. Piloswine's an issue. Earth Power, Sludge Wave. So I hit almost everything on his team pretty hard, and I don't think Piloswine's going to enjoy taking like an Earth Power from Nidoqueen either. So it's a big offensive threat from my side of the field. Of course, I got Golisopod running Insect Plate, First Impression. I'm trying to surprise a little bit with the Sucker Punch, and then I have Aqua Jet and Spikes. I have enough speed to the point where I can outspeed a lot of his slower Pokemon, things like Aromatisse, Cofagrigus, Forretress, and Piloswine. Piloswine's the big one that I'm outspeeding here, although I don't even know if I really need to. I've been switching Spikes and Liquidation on and off because it could be a huge thing to be able to outspeed and hit him with a Liquidation, but the Spikes are also very good for helping me defeat his team like later on in the game. Weaken big threats like Milotic, Cofagrigus, things like that. Breaking Sturdy on Fortress. And then I got Florges here. I kind of needed Florges to take on big specially offensive threats like Heliolisk, Sceptile. Can kind of take on Milotic because it does have Heal Bell. And of course Aromatisse, although you could bring like something like Nasty Plot. And it does take on Cofagrigus fairly well as well. But running enough speed here to be able to kind of be effective. What do I even have that speed for? Outspeed Embor. Outspeed Melodic. Do I outspeed Melodic? I definitely outspeed. Like a non-speedy Milotic, I should outspeed. Yeah. And, outspeeding non-Scarf Rampardos, hitting that with a Moonblast. Not going to enjoy taking that. And then I have Vikavolt. It's a pretty similar set to what I ran week 1, but instead of Rocky Helmet, I'm going Leftovers. So I have Bug Buzz, Thunderbolt, Hidden Power, Fire, of course, there for the Fortress, and then Roost. So I'm going max special attack, Modest, with enough speed, of course, to outspeed. What is it? I think it's the same thing that Glycopod. So for Piloswine, so I can hit it with a Bug Buzz if I need to, and then. This Pokemon actually takes on a lot of his team fairly well. Like with the amount of bulk that I have plus Roost, I'm able to take on. I can take it like 2 hits from Drapion. I can take on the Fortress. Take a non-Flare Blitz attack from Embor. Piloswine should actually be pretty easy to take on. I can take a hit from like a Sceptile, Heliolisk, a non. Stone Edge from Aerodactyl probably, and then of course the Milotic of course is the big thing that I want to be able to take on, hit that thing really hard with Thunderbolt. Of course Thunderbolt does hit the Cofagrigus really hard, so if I can just come in, click Thunderbolt, I can do a lot of damage. But Bug Buzz is also there too in case he does have the Lightning Rod, Mega Sceptile, or the Piloswine still around. So big offensive threat, but able to take on a lot of hits as well. And I got Whimsicott here. It's kind of my my sweep setter. I got a Life Orb. I think I might want to actually put Expert Belt because I tried out Life Orb a little bit, but I don't like having the recoil there. So Expert Belt, I do like it a little bit better because the main reason I'm using this thing is so I can hit Milotic with the Energy Ball and then use Memento to kind of set up, to kind of use it to make something into setup fodder for my Lycanroc. So obviously I can tank hits from a lot of things like a non-flare blitzing Embor. I can take hits from Heliolisk, Milotic, probably tank hits from the Piloswine, and maybe even the what's this thing, Rampardos, and the Sceptile, and then hit everything pretty hard with my dual stab combination. Like obviously I have Hidden Power Fire for the Fortress, but nothing else on his team is really enjoying taking my dual stabs, which is pretty sweet. Whimsicott's just a big team player. And then I do have Memento as an option, so I can Memento on something like maybe Sceptile, Rampardos, something that I can then, so I can Memento and then come in with Lycanroc, get the opportunity to Swords Dance, and then I have Accelerock, Drill Run, Crunch with max speed, max attack with Darkinium Z, and that should be able to let me basically finish off the team like a weakened. Like at this point, like I obviously have Darkinium Z for the Cofagrigus, but then if I don't need it for that, it obviously helps me out a lot against things like Milotic. Helps me out versus Piloswine. But then other than that, like Accelerock takes out things like Aerodactyl, Heliolisk, Sceptile, can do a good chunk to Embor. And then I have Drill Run, which will take on Drapion, other more bulky threats like Rampardos. I think Rampardos even gets knocked out by like Accelerock. Could knock out Heliolisk definitely. And of course I do outspeed Heliolisk unless it's Scarfed. And could do a good chunk to Fortress at +2. But the ideal situation is that his team would be pretty weakened by like Stealth Rocks, Spikes, and the rest of my team wearing them down to the point where Lycanroc can come in and clean up. So that's the goal. We'll see how it works out in the battle. That should be up later today. So just make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you know when it comes out. And I'll see you guys then. Peace out. Keep dreaming.